Match day 3 in the NWSL is upon us, and here's a look at what we've got coming up. It all gets started Friday night when the Portland Thorns welcome the OL Reign to Providence Park. 3 matches on Saturday, including Kansas City on the road to face the Pride, and then 2 on Sunday. The league-leading San Diego Wave will welcome the Red Stars, and last year's regular season champions, the Washington Spirit, will host Angel City FC. And for more on the upcoming matches, we have got Lindsey, former US international and host of the Attacking Third podcast, Lisa Roman, to join us. It's great to see you both. Before we get to this weekend's games, North Carolina Courage, they just won the Challenge Cup, beating the Spirit 2-1 on home soil. Laurie, what were your biggest takeaways from that match?
Yeah, I think that the biggest takeaway, one is when these games matter so much, right, and you have 3 games in such a little bit of time, it's tough to get the best performances out of teams when you have that type of travel. But we all know that, and we expect that, things to move on in terms of what that looks like going forward. But I think from the game specifically, one of the most important things is for North Carolina that they can persevere without Paul Hailie. I think there was a lot of questions coming into this season, what this team would look like identity-wise, in terms of whether they play the box midfield, how would they press, and because so much of the team was wrapped up in Paul and how he put the team together, and they more than stepped up to the challenge, playing even better than I'd say they have the last couple of years, and have more versatility going forward. So that would be the biggest takeaway for me.
For North Carolina, we learned that they can fight despite losing their head coach in Paul Hailie and a number of players. Forward Jess McDonald, Lynn Williams, midfielder Sam Ewis, and goalkeeper Casey Murphy being out with injury. They still have a lot of depth with bringing on 3 rookies that got significant minutes in midfielders Emily Gray, Emilia Berkeley, forward Diana Ordonez. They provided so much. And I was extremely pleasantly surprised with midfielder Denise O'Sullivan. She's been in the NWSL since 2016 and with North Carolina Courage for a number of years. In the midfield, though, O'Sullivan typically played in the attacking midfield. Throughout this Challenge Cup, she dropped deeper, playing alongside those rookies in Berkeley and Gray, and she stepped up, just being one of 3 players for North Carolina to play every single minute in the Challenge Cup.
Yeah, it was a great start to the season for the Courage, wasn't it? A massive confidence boost in now heading into the regular season. So let's look ahead to what's to come this weekend. 6 matches on tap. Laurie, which one has your attention from all of them?
Well, it's got to be the first one, Friday night, the showdown, the Cascadia Rivalry between Portland Thorns and OL Reign. Always one of the most anticipated matchups, not only for fans, but for these 2 teams in particular. And going into this game, highly contested in terms of OL Reign. In terms of all comps, 14 wins, Portland to 12, so tight race between these 2. I think the most interesting thing about this matchup coming up this Friday, though, is the path to get here. We've seen Portland Thorns almost have 2 weeks off because they were supposed to play North Carolina. North Carolina find themselves winning the Challenge Cup on Saturday, so Portland had a bye this past weekend. So it's been since April 1 May 1 that they have played, and then for OL Reign, it's been 3 games in 8 days, quick turnaround after playing on Sunday for this first match on Friday. So how does OL Reign deal with the quick turnaround, not having won a game in those 3 games on the road, or the first 2 on the road and then Sunday's game at home? So how do they bounce back? They find themselves on the road again at Portland, tough place to play, but always one of the best matchups of the season.
I'm keeping my eye on Chicago Red Stars versus San Diego Wave FC. Chicago coming off a regular season opener. They won 2-1 over Racing Louisville, and then they had nearly 2 weeks off, 1 bye week in the regular season. Meanwhile, San Diego Wave FC, expansion side in the NWSL this year, they're coming off 2 back-to-back regular season wins. They sit at the top of the NWSL standings right now. 2 wins and 2 shutouts. Alex Morgan getting 4 goals in the last match for the Wave. This will be a big test as Chicago travels to Torreo Stadium in San Diego, California. It's the first time the Red Stars will play in San Diego. And now the Wave, they need to see if they can match up against good competition in the Red Stars. They finished 2nd in their regional group for the Challenge Cup. Chicago without Mallory Pugh for their last group stage game in the Challenge Cup due to a concussion. She's been back training with the Red Stars. It's unsure if her availability will be there this weekend for Chicago, but this is a huge matchup and a really big test for San Diego as an expansion side.
Yeah, absolutely, Lisa. Things looking very good for Casey Stoney's side at the minute at the top of the table. So that's the matchups to watch. Let's talk about the individual players here. Laurie, give us your one to watch this weekend.
I think when you're looking at the Cascadia Rivalry, you have to think about Sophia Smith. She's been off to a fantastic start for the Portland Thorns. Gives them a very different look going forward. She can get in behind. She can link up play. She obviously can score goals. We've seen that both with Portland and with U.S. Women's National Team as well. And when you get into these matchups, you need somebody that can stretch the game, can press, lead the line up top. She certainly can do that, but she's also shown that she can come off the bench. The first game of this regular season, she came off the bench, scored a goal immediately coming in and making an impact. And sometimes you need that, especially when you have a team that has so much depth. So uncertain whether or not she'll get the start or come off the bench, but certainly a player that can make an impact, gives them a different look, and something that OL Reign's going to need to keep an eye on, whether she plays the full 90 or just has limited time off the bench.
Key player for me is midfielder Hailie Mace for Kansas City Current. She dealt with a bit of an injury, so missed time for Kansas City in the Challenge Cup, but she's been back. She started in their first regular season match last weekend versus Houston, and Mace is a versatile player. She's a midfielder, but she also does so well defensively. Without the ball, she drops into the 5-back for Kansas City Current. She contests balls in the air, and she's a good 1v1 defender. With the ball, Mace can attack down the flank. She loves to get 2v1 situations up, and she can cut inside, and she does it deeper down the field, which allows her the great vision to switch the ball as Kansas City's looking to move down the field quickly in their transition. If Hailie Mace can be on her game, recovering from that injury, it'll be a really good fresh start for Kansas City as they look to get their first win in the regular season.
Yeah, they absolutely will. We've got so much to look forward to, haven't we, with the NWSL well underway with their 10th anniversary season. Laurie, Lisa, thanks so much. We appreciate you breaking it all down for us. And for more from Lisa and Sandra Herrera, be sure to download and subscribe to the Attacking Third podcast for all the latest news and updates. That's the Attacking Third podcast. Download and subscribe today.